So for example, just last week, Chrysler shut down the minivan plant in Canada. There's only one minivan plant that Chrysler has, and they shut it down for 4 weeks. Now that probably also means that minivans aren't selling very well, and they have, 100 days supply in inventory. So it wasn't that big a deal, because that's what they're doing. They're selecting which plants they're going to shut down. So the new car manufacturers are having a difficult time making cars. And then on top of that, they didn't build any cars last year, so there's a shortage of supply of used cars in the marketplace right now. And we're experiencing the same thing when we're wholesaling our cars. There's a huge demand for anything that's reasonably clean used car. So we're experiencing record results on our used cars that we do have for sale on the residual values that we're getting. So it's really quite interesting. Jason, talk to everyone about some of our auction results, or Matt, which either of you who has it top of mind.
Yeah. I mean, everything is doing astronomical numbers. Just as an example, we only had about 20 cars at the sale last week, but on average, I was putting I always floor high. It's just a method that I've done my whole life, selling cars at auctions, but I floor high anyway. But I was flooring probably on average between 800 and 1,000 over average MMR, and I think at least 19 out of 20 went over my floor. So we're averaging well over, even with MMR as elevated as it is right now, we're averaging 1,000 or more over that. To Mike's point, unless the car is absolutely destroyed, it's still bringing strong money. If you guys are familiar with, the auction grading system, anything that's a 3.0 or above is going to bring, way over MMR in most cases. I'm sure there's some exceptions to that, but for the most part, it's just beyond strong across the board. Small cars, for us, full size and smaller, our bread and butter is bringing more at the auction. As you get a little larger, you're not seeing the elevated. It's still elevated, but not quite as much. So as you raise the price point of the car, your elevation percentage, if you want to call it that, is going to be a little thinner. But even the big stuff like Suburbans and Explorers and things like that are still bringing over market value if they're in any reasonable condition. Even our salvage results, totally wrecked cars, we're seeing record results there in our salvage sales. So everything across the board is just through the roof.
Good time to sell. You've got inventory to move out.
To give you guys an example, we were selling, a couple 19 accents. So a 19 accent with 38,000 miles is bringing about $13,000, which is more than we paid for it a year and a half ago. We were buying that car with 10,000 miles at about 12.5 from Hyundai. It's going for 13 now with 38,000.
So Marty, you had an interesting approach. You were going to try and buy some Sportages last week, I think it was. So how did that turn out? What happened there? You're muted. We have to unmute you. Jason, can you unmute Marty?
Yeah, there you got it. Did you unmute me?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we bought a couple. What I was watching when I was buying online is, as he said, the small cars. I was buying some Kia Fortes and different things. They were 1,000, 1,200 or more. But I noticed the all-wheel drive Sportages, which you're paying, but they were staying right around MMR, maybe 200 over. So, and with decent miles, but I'm buying 18s. I'm not buying 20s or 19s. I was buying some 18s. So I tried something different to see how that works in value-wise.
I thought that was an interesting approach that you were talking about, Marty, was buying the cars that aren't so much over book, so that, maybe on the other side, when you're finished using it as a rental car, you'll have better results when you're trying to sell it. But everything that I'm reading, this situation with the restricted supply of cars is going to continue for all of 21, which also means that it's going to really continue for used cars into 2022. It's not going to go away. Jonathan Smoke today on the Mannheim call was suggesting that they were hoping to get new car production up to 16 million cars this year, which seems like a stretch. Now, remember, in 2019, it was something like 17.3 or 17.5 million. I can't remember exactly what the number was right now, but something like that. So they're still talking about there being, a million and a half fewer cars built in 2021 than there was in 2019. So this limited supply of used cars is not going to go away. So we're going to have to learn how to capitalize on this. One of the things that we've tried is we started buying front-wheel drive SUVs because the price was cheap earlier this year. Matt, what were we paying for the Chevy Trax front-wheel drive?
We bought around 100 Chevy Traxes front-wheel drive, and they vary between LS and LT models. We did buy a couple all-wheel drive if the price was just cheap enough, but basically between LS and LT, front-wheel drive, a couple all-wheel drive. Our price range, the LS front-wheel drives, I was buying in the mid to upper 12,000, so 12.5 to 12.7 is under 10,000 miles, by the way. And then the LT was up, around 14, probably mid 14s, 14.5, 14.7. If you guys look online now, those same cars have gone up $2,000 to $3,000 from when I bought them just in January. So yeah, we paid somewhere between 12 and 15,000 for 100 of those cars that now are already $2 to $3 grand equity with doing nothing,
Because, the reason why I'm suggesting that is you can get front wheel drive SUVs at times at a real attractive price. And, if you buy a front wheel drive Kia Forte, why wouldn't you buy a front wheel drive Chevy Trax for the same price? Why wouldn't you? That everything, you can't just limit yourself just to four-wheel drive only because it was a price point. So that's what some of the things that we're doing to try and get our fleet purchased at attractive prices so that we can continue to have these low rates to compete with the competition. But, I see this continuing for quite some time. The point where Glenn's comments to me go sort of like this: he can't keep up. There's more demand than we have fleet. He should have blacked out 8 hours earlier than he did on Friday. Those are the kind of comments that we're running into. So we can't even move the cars fast enough to meet the demand that we're experiencing right now in our local market stores. This isn't even at the airport. The airport is up also. We're hoping to tie what we did in 2019 at BWI Airport. So we're not even using 2020 as a comparison. We're using 2019 as our comparison tools. And we're comparing what we're doing this year to what we did in 2019. So we're hoping that in our local market stores that we're going to even outdo 2019 by 4 or 5% in revenue. So it's going to be higher than we did in 2019. So business is just coming back real strong. Now we're doing this revenue with several hundred fewer cars because two things are happening. The customers are keeping the cars longer, and we're getting $4, $5, $6 more a day, which translates, at a 90% utilization, you're talking about $150, $200 revenue per unit increase. So we are doing very well on that front by replacing the revenue that we did in 2019 with 200, 300 fewer cars, that kind of range. So that's what we're experiencing. Anybody else experiencing the same thing?
Yeah, I am. And we're getting $60 a day for a compact. which we've never been able to get that in Richmond.
And I would say here in New Jersey, very similar. Actually, this weekend, I had the same mistake that Glenn, where we shut down a little too late, right? So we had my dogs are agreeing with me. Yeah, it's challenging for sure. And trying to find cars, as Marty mentioned, is another issue.
Yeah, cars you can afford, but you're just gonna have to keep looking and keep buying cars all the way through the summer, because I don't see this situation going away.
Tucson, that's it. There's no accents, no Elantras, no Rios, nothing, no small cars. So really, the only thing in volume would be Santa Fe, and maybe followed by Tucson.
Are they overpriced?
What year are they? 19s or 20s? What are they?
20s. No, I don't think they're overpriced. There's front wheel and all wheel available, and SE and SEL trim available. And you're looking at, I guess, just ballpark 22,000 to 4, about 20,
Yeah.
for teen mile 2020s.
I mean, this is how I would put it. I mean, even if they are, I mean, everything out there is overpriced. I mean, there's not a car, I mean, you might steal one here or there, but pretty much everything's overpriced compared to what we're all used to. But because we are all going to be able to get probably close to triple our normal rate of previous years potentially. I know it's not what people want to do, but because you're getting such a higher rate, you can afford to depreciate that car a little bit more aggressively. You don't need to eat up all your profit, but even if you took, 33% of the additional profit with the additional rate you're getting and put it towards depreciation, that would allow you to buy more cars, and what you're going to make up in volume. It's you want to say, I want to keep all that profit for each of these cars, but if you give away just a little bit of it to depreciation and buy a few more cars, you're going to make way more money that way than just trying to get, squeeze, the cars you have to the highest rates. If you can expand your fleet a little bit and pay a little bit more and just depreciate them a slight bit more to keep you in them in the right, area, I think it's going to be profitable for everyone.
Marty, what were you paying for the Kia, not Sorento? What were you buying?
I bought a all-wheel drive Sportage. I think I paid 17.6, but there was an 18 with I forget the miles on it. Maybe
30s?
18,000 miles.
Okay, all right. Mhm.
I also bought a purple Sorento 7-passenger. I like them colors because there's retail guys don't like them. So I look for those cars, but that was 20 grand. It was a 7-passenger.
Yeah.
So Marty, sun's getting to you, Marty.
Buy ugly, that's another good tip.
I buy ugly and I can still rent them.
Yeah, we like them too because then they're easy to distinguish. Instead of saying 63H, you say the purple Sorento, yeah.
Easier.
Caller two's back.
Okay.
I have one more question. The fuel prices are obviously going up, right? So is anybody looking at electric cars? Should we be looking at that going forward? What's your feeling on that? Or kind of just stay where we're at right now?
I wouldn't go to electric yet, Fran, because there's just too much range anxiety from the customer base. So if you wanted to try alternative fuel vehicles, try hybrids for now. We'll see what happens as the industry steps through 2021, and everybody's hoping to sell more electric cars this year. We'll see if it actually happens. But I don't think that our customer base is ready for that changeover yet. So I would just, if you wanted to try alternative fuels, then just go with hybrid. But it's hard enough just to get extra money to pay for a hybrid. Customers just don't want to, they want the technology, but they don't want to pay for it. So I would just sit tight on the electric car game just now. It's not the right time yet.
So the
Thank you.
cars that they're going to be putting out this year, any thoughts on what percentage of cars are going to be still gas versus electric?
Oh, right now it's 2% is electric. So if they double it, that's 4%. Okay, so they'll be lucky to get to 4% penetration or 5% penetration this year, and next year that'd be a huge change. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, Mike, most of those electric vehicles are high dollar cars anyway. They're not the compact cars for the most part you want to rent.
Right, they're going to be the
They're
Audi,
Teslas and Porsches and Audis and.
the Audi e-tron, which is a $78,000 compact car.
You rent that for 500 a day?
That's not gonna work in our market.
Look at Alabama somewhere.
Right.
Every time I get somebody with a New Jersey license, they look like a bum and they want to take my car and go back to Jersey. I know I'll never see it again.
Hey, watch what you say. We got people.
Wait a minute.
Take care
You're a
of
little outweighed on the Jersey side over here there, young fella.
that guy's coming through Richmond. All I gotta do is give me your address.
You need to be a little bit nicer. These Jersey people, they're sensitive, Matthew. You gotta be careful. They don't have a lot of confidence and they're very sensitive people. Hurting people's feelings.
I'm sensitive all. Sensitive at all. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, and we all back each other up too.
We'll take out anybody.
One other very small point to think in mind, somebody mentioned customer service is important earlier. You're going to see a lot of customers who you likely would not have seen otherwise. They're people that would have gone to Hertz or Enterprise or Avis or something. And this is a real opportunity to impress those people and keep them. So, the new customers that we bring in right now are customers that we want to keep and probably stay in touch with, by email or however you keep in touch with customers, because this could be the only reason they're ever going to meet you. And you want to keep those customers, as the business goes back to whatever this more than close to normal is going to be. I don't know what it's going to be a year, 2 years from now, but I guess it'll be more normal than it's been. So don't forget that in this time of rush and business and getting good prices for cars, you got to remember you want to be able to keep these customers going forward. This is a real.
Everybody who's jumped on and contributed, so thank you very much. And if
Great
there's
to
any-
see you, everybody. Thank you.
all right, take care, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Take care now. Bye.
Thank you very much.
Bye.